Did they really think you wouldn't see through their lies, that you wouldn't rise above their schemes? They thought they could hide in the shadows, but now their true colors are exposed, and you've got them running. For too long, people underestimated you, blind to your sharp instincts and unwavering resolve. They believed their deceit would go unnoticed, but your clarity has shattered their illusion. Now the truth stands before you, undeniable and raw. You've turned the tables and the power is firmly in your hands. They whispered behind your back, building a world where they believed they had the upper hand, where they pulled the strings and dictated your value as if they held the blueprint to your life. They mistook their deceit for intelligence, their manipulation for wisdom. To them, you were an object in the corner of a stage they commanded. Every condescending glance, every carefully veiled insult was a reminder that in their minds, you were beneath them. They wore masks of kindness, pretending to offer advice or guidance, all while secretly plotting your stagnation. They thought their illusion of control over you was so masterfully crafted that you wouldn't notice the bars they built around you. Their plans were intricate, but all built on the faulty premise that you wouldn't fight back, that you wouldn't rise. But while they reveled in their arrogance, they never saw the fire smoldering beneath your surface. They had no idea what lay within you, hidden in the depths of your spirit. You allowed them to believe in their power because you understood patience. You knew that biding your time was not a sign of weakness, but a calculated strategy. You held your cards close, knowing that one day their empire of sand would collapse, and you would stand unshaken amidst their ruins. Your strength was not in loud proclamations or showy displays, but in your resilience, your ability to endure without breaking, to bend without snapping. Their control was always an illusion, they just couldn't see it. You were a force they couldn't comprehend, quiet as the rising tide, relentless as a storm on the horizon. They had no idea that every step they took to push you down only made you rise higher. Every scheme they wove around you became another thread in your armor. They underestimated you, but their blindness was their downfall. Now, the power that once seemed to slip through your fingers is firmly in your grasp. Now they stand exposed, their masks shattered, the carefully woven veil of deceit torn to shreds. The false confidence they once paraded like a crown has dissolved into desperation. You were meant to be the one in the dark, the one scrambling for clarity, while they held the reins. Yet as they pushed you further into the shadows, they never noticed the light of truth burning steadily at your back, growing brighter with each passing moment. And now, with nowhere left to hide, their entire charade unravels before your eyes. The illusion is gone, and all that remains is their fear, raw, trembling, unmistakable. They scramble now like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Their hands, once steady in their manipulation, now shake as they realize the truth they thought they could bury is surfacing faster than they can control. Every word they used to twist your reality, every condescending lie they whispered, has turned on them, becoming a noose tightening around their necks. They are no longer the masters of the game, and they feel it deep in their bones. The walls they built to cage you have become their own prison, and they cannot escape. Their panic is palpable, a storm of frenzied attempts to regain control, but it's too late. You see them now, fully and undeniably. They tried so hard to make you feel vulnerable, to highlight your supposed flaws, believing that if they could weaken you, they could strengthen themselves. But in their obsession with your perceived weaknesses, they never guarded their own. The irony is devastating. They spent so long creating a narrative where you were the one stumbling, unsure of yourself, always one step behind. Yet it is they who are now tripping over their own lies, exposed to the harsh light of truth. They never anticipated that in their attempt to control you, they would reveal the cracks in their own foundation. You were supposed to be powerless in their game, but now the roles have reversed. The truth is no longer their weapon, it is yours, and they can't withstand its weight. Their every move now reeks of desperation, each action betraying the fear they've tried so hard to conceal. The very things they once used to weaken you are now their undoing. They are exposed, laid bare, and there is no turning back. They once dismissed you, treating you as a pawn in their games, oblivious to the force simmering just beneath your calm exterior. They took you for granted, mistaking your patience for passivity, your silence for submission. But now, in the face of your rise, they are finally beginning to understand. They see it now, the unwavering strength that runs through your veins, the resilience that has carried you through storms they couldn't even fathom. Your value, once overlooked, has become impossible to deny. Every challenge they threw your way, every attempt to diminish your worth, has only sharpened your power, and now it stands before them, blinding in its intensity. You were never ordinary, never meant to play by their rules. Your path was never meant to be dictated by their small minds or their need for control. The truth is, you've always been set apart, divinely chosen for something far greater than they could ever grasp. Your ascent was written in the stars, and no amount of manipulation or underestimation could keep you from rising. They thought they could contain you, mold you to fit within the narrow confines of their expectations, but they were wrong. You are not of their world, and your purpose transcends their games. They now stand in the shadow of your greatness, forced to witness the unfolding of your destiny. And with that realization comes fear, cold, unshakable fear. They see now that you are beyond their reach, that their power over you has evaporated like mist in the morning sun. Where once they could manipulate and control, now they can only watch helpless as you rise above them untouchable. You've become a force they cannot comprehend, a towering presence that renders them small and insignificant. Their attempts to diminish you have only elevated you, and now they are left scrambling, desperate to cling to the illusion of control that is slipping through their fingers. But it's too late. You are soaring now, far beyond their grasp, beyond their shallow understanding. They can't stop you, and they know it. Their fear is evident in every glance, in every frantic word they utter, as they realize that the very person they once thought they could control is now their greatest threat. They thought they had control, spinning their webs of deceit, assuming you would be caught in them forever. But now, as the walls they built close in on them, they can feel the crushing weight of their own failures. They're scrambling, desperate to escape the collapse of their schemes, but no matter where they run, the truth follows them like a storm. They see the ruin they've created, but they can't stop it. Their desperation is palpable, their fear raw. They may try to flee, but deep down they know they've already lost. They played their game too boldly, believing you would always be in the dark. But now it's their world that is crumbling. The bridge they burned is gone, reduced to ashes they can never rebuild. They underestimated you in every way, your strength, your vision, your ability to see through their lies, and now they've underestimated the finality of what they've done. There's no turning back for them. They thought they could use you, that you would always be there to bend to their will, but they never realized the cost. That bridge, once a path for them to manipulate and control, is now impassable. Their actions have sealed their fate, and they know it. They're running because they understand there's no undoing the damage, no way to rebuild what's been destroyed. Meanwhile, you have evolved beyond anything they could have anticipated. While they were busy playing games, you were growing, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. You've left them behind, standing on a higher ground they can't reach. You've advanced so far beyond their shallow tactics that they don't even know how to approach you anymore. Their tricks, their manipulation, it's all meaningless now. You see through them as if they're made of glass, fragile and exposed. They thought they could keep you tethered to their small world, but you've outgrown it. You've become something they can no longer control or even understand. The person they once tried to keep down has transformed into a force they can't touch. They're running scared, not just because they've lost control, but because they realize you've surpassed them in every way. You've evolved, and they've been left in the dust, powerless to stop your ascent. Now that you stand tall in your power, they will attempt to re-enter your life, their eyes wide with false remorse cloaked in apology. They see you thriving. They see the glow of your success, and their desperation becomes a siren call for your attention. They will come with excuses, soft words, and empty promises, trying to slip back into your world. do not be fooled. Their sudden interest in your life is not born from genuine change, but from fear. Fear of the power you now wield, fear of the greatness you've achieved without them. They want to attach themselves to your light, not to contribute to it, but to siphon from it, just as they tried to before. The temptation to listen, to open the door and give them another chance, may tug at you, but you must recognize the trap for what it is. These people have not transformed. They are still the same, driven by the same selfish motives that once led them to diminish you. Their apologies, their regret, they are hollow, designed to manipulate your emotions, to make you second-guess the boundaries you've so fiercely established. They're not running back to you because they've suddenly seen the error of their ways. They're running because they're scared of what you've become. They know they can no longer control you, and now in their panic, they want to tether themselves to your strength, hoping to find a foothold in your success. But you've come too far. Your growth has been earned through fire and storms, and it is precious. You have elevated yourself beyond the petty games, the manipulations, and the insecurities they once used against you. Protect that growth like a fortress. Your boundaries are not walls of isolation. They are shields forged from wisdom, built to safeguard the power you've cultivated. Letting them back in, even for a moment, would risk letting that old chaos creep back into your life. You've broken free from their grip. Do not give them the chance to pull you back down into their shadows. Your energy, your peace, your newfound strength, they are priceless. Do not lower your vibration to accommodate those who never valued it in the first place. Keep your door closed, your boundaries intact, and continue on your path, knowing that your power is yours alone, and no one is worthy of disrupting it. Their exposure was not an accident. It was not a coincidence or a random turn of events. This was divine intervention, the work of God's hand, uncovering the truth you needed to see. God revealed their masks, stripped away their pretense, and laid bare the deceit they thought would remain hidden forever. This revelation was for your protection, a direct act of love and guidance from the divine to pull you away from those who sought to harm you, those who would have drained you dry had they stayed in the shadows. God does not allow darkness to linger in the presence of His chosen, and you are chosen. This was never about punishment or vengeance. This was about your growth, about removing obstacles that stood in the way of your destiny. God saw what you couldn't, heard what you didn't, and intervened to save you from further harm. He knew that as long as they remained in your life, they would continue to hinder you, feeding you false promises while slowly sapping your strength. They were never meant to walk with you into the future you're being prepared for. Their presence was temporary, a chapter that needed to close for you to step into your greatness. God's timing is perfect, and this exposure was not a random event. It was orchestrated, precisely when you were ready to see the truth and strong enough to handle the fallout. And now, with the truth revealed, you must understand there is no going back. They may try to crawl back into your life, pleading for forgiveness, attempting to sway your heart with remorse. But do not be deceived. God removed them for a reason, and allowing them back in would be to defy that divine intervention. To invite them back is to reopen a door that was shut for your own protection. Their return would bring only chaos, negative energy, and disruption. They carry the same manipulative spirit, the same toxicity that once poisoned your peace. Nothing has changed in their hearts, only in their circumstances. They are desperate because they can no longer hide, but desperation does not equal transformation. God has shown you who they are, and you must trust that revelation. Your spiritual path requires peace, clarity, and strength, and allowing those who thrive in deceit and manipulation back into your life will only derail you. They are not aligned with the purpose God has set for you. Their energy is chaotic, their intentions self-serving, and they will do nothing but bring turmoil to the harmony you've worked so hard to establish. Your growth, your spiritual ascension, depends on your ability to discern who belongs in your life and who does not. They have been exposed because they were never meant to stay. The lesson here is clear. Some people are removed from your life not because they are evil, but because they are not equipped to handle the greatness God is preparing for you. Their season has ended. Do not drag them into the next chapter where they do not belong. Protect the peace and clarity God has given you. Trust that this exposure is a divine act of love, and by closing the door on them, you are honoring the spiritual path you are destined to walk. You cannot afford to look back. The temptation may arise to revisit those who once held you down, to glance over your shoulder at the toxic ties you've severed. But doing so could destroy everything you've built. Remember Lot's wife, frozen in her disobedience when she looked back at the ruin she was fleeing. Turning back to what God has already removed from your life would be an act of defiance, inviting the same destruction to your soul. The past was a place of deception, where lies were woven around you, designed to ensnare your spirit. To look back is to risk falling into the very pit from which you've been freed. You've been chosen for something far greater. The strength you now possess, forged through trials and divine revelation, is not just a shield, it is a weapon. You are no longer vulnerable to those who once thought they could manipulate or control you. The clarity you've gained is not temporary, but eternal, gifted to you so that you can rise into the fullness of your purpose. There is no need to hesitate or doubt. The toxic energies that once clung to you have been cut away by God Himself, and no one can take away the destiny that He has placed in your hands. You are no longer bound by the chains of others' expectations, lies, or schemes. You are free, powerful beyond their comprehension. Now, move forward with the confidence that God's hand is guiding your every step. He has cleared your path, not just for you to survive, but to thrive. Trust in His plan, for it is far greater than anything you can see. You are walking into blessings and opportunities beyond your wildest expectations, into a future that has been ordained for your greatness. Let go of the past entirely, for it holds nothing for you now. Every step forward is a declaration of faith, a refusal to return to what was meant to break you. May you continue with strength, knowing that God walks before you and beside you. May you trust in His plan, even when the way seems uncertain. The past cannot hold you. Your future is bright with promise. Keep moving forward, knowing that His favor is upon you, and nothing can stand in your way. You are chosen, you are unstoppable, and your path is blessed. You know what it's like to rise from the ashes of deceit, to stand firm in your truth, while those who thought they could control you crumble under the weight of their own lies. You've seen the masks slip, the manipulations exposed, and you've watched as they ran, desperate to regain the power they never truly had. They underestimated you, didn't they? They thought they could keep you small, but now they see you for who you truly are, a force they can't touch. You are chosen, and no one can deny the power that flows through you. Your clarity, your strength, and your resilience have shattered their illusions, leaving them in the dust while you soar. But now, I want to hear your story. Share your experiences of those who tried to manipulate you, those who thought they could deceive you, but ended up exposing themselves. How did you deal with their desperate attempts to regain control? What steps did you take to protect your peace and your progress? Your story is powerful, and it will resonate with others who have faced similar challenges. By sharing your truth, you empower not only yourself, but those who are still navigating through the fog of deception, waiting for their moment of clarity. Reflect on how far you've come. There were moments when it seemed like the weight of their lies would crush you, but you persevered. You learned to build boundaries, to protect the growth that was too precious to be disrupted by toxic energies. Reflect on how you shielded your progress from those who sought to sabotage it, and how you rose above their games, untouchable. Each step you took away from their influence was a victory, a declaration that you would not be defined by their small-mindedness. Remember, you are chosen, protected, and unstoppable. Those who try to tear you down will always fail because your purpose is greater than their schemes. They might try to return, to slither back into your life with false apologies and empty promises, but you know better now. You've seen behind the curtain, and you're no longer blind to their tricks. Walk in your purpose, knowing that nothing and no one can derail the divine path set before you. Peace, blessings, and love. Continue to stand firm, keep your heart guarded, and never allow anyone to disrupt the journey that is meant for you alone. You are unstoppable.